Hello from not so sunny Colorado. I just finished a ride, got rained on a little bit. The thunderstorms are coming in, but I made it back home safely. I'm staying at 9,000 feet and I wanted to share with you some altitude tips. So I think the one most people know is when you go to altitude, start drinking water immediately. You're probably gonna get a headache. You might sleep really poorly the first couple of nights. The water's really going to help. Another thing is if you're going to be training pretty hard, maybe think about eating a little bit more carbs, increasing that carbohydrate intake. Your body's going to need more carbs. It's going to burn through those more at altitude. Then, if you're training by metrics, by power or heart rate, you might need to adjust them. Typically, with my athletes, I tend to start adjusting these metrics when they go to 5,000 feet or above, and that's if they live around sea level. For power, generally above 3,000 feet, for every 1,000 feet you go up, you subtract 1% from your FTP. Now, this is not a rule, and it will vary for certain people. So some people handle altitude a lot better, and their FTP might not drop as much as others. So it's kind of an art as well as a science, and you're just going to have to micro adjust once you get there. And then as far as heart rate, you might find that your threshold heart rate is a little bit harder to get to and maintain at altitude. So you might want to also kind of adjust your expectations to be riding at a slightly lower heart rate than normal. Now, this is not true for everybody, but I definitely coach athletes who this applies to. Here are two things that are not typical knowledge. Whenever I go to altitude, and I'm talking pretty high altitude, like 9,000 feet and above, when I go downhill, the air literally feels thin, and all of a sudden my bike just takes off. Like, it goes way faster than I think it will, that I'm used to at sea level. So that acceleration can catch me off guard if I'm going down a really fast, steep hill. So just be aware that could happen. You don't want to get the speed wobbles or anything. You don't want to go too fast above your comfort level. So just scrub those brakes and kind of let yourself gradually get used to the speed that you will get to at altitude. And then, speaking of scrubbing the brakes, this is another one that always catches me by surprise whenever I go to altitude. It happens every single time, and yet it still surprises me when it happens. So I assemble my bike, everything's working, I go out on my first ride, I pull the brake levers, and they pull almost completely to the handlebars. It's like they bottom out. So there's something about the pressure at altitude with hydraulic disc brakes. Don't be surprised if, at sea level you kind of pull in maybe 2 inches, well, at altitude they might go in 3 inches. A simple fix for this would be to get your brakes bled and reset, but I'm only here for a week. I'm not going to do that. So what I do is I just kind of pump the brakes throughout my ride, and especially if I'm going down a hill or something, I pump them a few times. That will give me a little bit more grip and grab, and they're not going to bottom out as much, but you will have to continue doing that throughout your ride.